private world. Brought to you by American Motors with the new Big Room Sports Fastback, Marlin.
You know, I don't know why Ann Johnson will night duty. It's gotten to the point where she won't even take a case these days unless she's on it from 11 to 7. Oh, now why do I say I don't know why? Of course I know. Tony?
Yeah?
Do you have to read that medical journal? Can't you listen to me once in a while?
Sweetie, I always listen to you. No, there's a very interesting article in this month's journal about the toxic effects of digitalis.
Let's see now. 5, 6 years. Never mind.
No, what?
Medical journals.
Sorry. No, what were you talking about?
Anne?
An excellent nurse. What's happened to her?
You don't like her, do you?
She's a sourpuss.
Well, there's a good reason.
Oh, yeah, sure. She was in love once.
Tony, she was married once. To a doctor, like you. He wanted a divorce to marry a rich patient. Like a fool, she gave it to him. And since then, she's resigned from the human race.
Well, that's interesting.
Tony Larson, you are a fine doctor, and you know a lot about the heart. You can read cardiograms, and you can diagnose, but not everything, doctor. Not everything.
Well, now, what am I supposed to diagnose?
I feel sorry for Anne. One of these days, I wonder if I'm going to be feeling sorry for myself.
Come on now, sweetie.
That's great reassurance, Doctor. Go on back to your digitalis. Oh, did I tell you who's coming to town tomorrow?
No? Who?
Sylvia.
Oh, you mean the girl from your hometown?
Uh-huh, Sylvia Hill.
How come?
Oh, well, she's going home for the weekend. And so we're going to have lunch tomorrow.
Well, when did you two start corresponding again?
Well, I mentioned her to Lisa some time ago, and I just wrote to her.
You 3 chicks going to have luncheon together?
No. One of the chicks is flown the coop. Lisa left town today.
She getting married?
Well, I'm sure she will one of these days. She went home for the weekend to visit her nephew and her brother.
The brother who was here last week?
Mm-hmm. Donald Hughes.
Oh. So little Lisa's gone home.
Tony Larson, you weren't listening to a word I said until I mentioned Lisa Hughes. One of these days, will you tell me all about her, huh? How you met her and how well you know her?
Who says I know her?
Doctor, don't make the mistake of thinking me stupid. Wasn't much fun at Mario's, was it, Brad?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you weren't in the mood.
What did I ever find at Mario's? What did I ever find at any of those places on Merce Street?
Maybe you're growing up.
You think I've outgrown those places?
It's a possibility.
I've heard it said that when you outgrow certain things, you substitute something for them.
Well, haven't you? You're married, you know.
Am I really? You don't have to answer that. It wasn't a question, it was a statement.
Honey? My mother phoned you today, didn't she?
Yes.
We're gonna go on Saturday?
Do you think we should?
Dr. Larson said Dad could have a few people in.
I thought only you and I were going.
Well, Dad told me he invited Dr. Larson and his wife.
Will they be there?
As far as I know.
I don't know if we should go.
Why? Because you're a patient of Dr. Larson?
Perhaps.
Do you really think he's helping you, Eve?
Obviously, when you ask me that, you don't believe he is.
No, I don't.
I do.
Well, in what way?
I need time.
Oh, now, is that what he told you?
That's what you told me. And you've said that we'd work out our problem.
Yes, I did. Without Dr. Larson. I told you that, too.
Fred, there's nothing to say that we haven't already said.
You really are depressed tonight, aren't you?
Aren't you? Aren't you fed up, Brad? Fed up with me and with this whole marriage?
I don't give up that easily.
That's right, you don't. I remember when you were a kid, if something didn't work, you either made it work or smashed it.
I stopped smashing things a long time ago.
I never learned how to smash things. Maybe it's something we all have to learn.
Catch the new Marlin by Rambler. First of the very fastbacks. Catch Marlin's style. Nobody else can. Marlin, sports fastback with stretch-out room. Production is limited, but the excitement isn't. If you're strong enough to handle one, catch yourself a Marlin, the new man-sized, very fastback from Rambler. Marlin. Marlin by Rambler. Catch it if you can.
You know something, Mrs. Larson?
What?
After 6 years of married life, I've decided that breakfast is the best time of the day.
Well, it's as good a time as any.
What's so serious lately? You never used to be that way.
No? Didn't I?
Oh, what's happened to your sense of humor? We used to have a lot of fun together.
Well, maybe that was before you became a serious doctor dedicated to reading medical journals in bed.
Oh, come on. I've always read in bed. You know that, sweetie.
Sweetie, now there is a word I would like you to eliminate from your vocabulary. I'd like to hear darling once in a while, or dear, or honey.
Oh, I forgot to tell you.
Yes, Doctor?
We're going a little social Saturday evening
We're going where?
to the Gray Mare Hotel. We've been invited by a patient for cocktails and a buffet supper.
Mr. Robinson?
Mr. Robinson.
What happened to Mrs. Robinson?
She'll be there.
Tony, I may be from a small town in Michigan, but I do know that it's proper for an invitation to come directly to me from Mrs. Robinson, even if you do happen to be Mr. Robinson's doctor. I'm not going.
Sandy, you remember one evening not too long ago I asked you to drive out to Lake Forest with me to visit them?
What's your point?
You're my wife.
Yes, I know. I have a marriage certificate.
Sweetie, a marriage certificate isn't all a woman needs to be a wife.
Oh, now look, Tony. Mrs. Robinson knows me. Don't forget I was a special on her husband's case. If she had called me direct, I would have accepted. I would have wanted to go for your sake.
What difference does it make how the invitation came to you? I think you'd want to go for my sake anyway. Wait a minute. Or is there something more to it than just that?
Just what?
Are you afraid of the Robinsons, their kind of people?
Afraid?
Because they're society?
Of course not.
Sandy, we're going.
If you say so, Doctor.
I say so.
Okay, sweetie.
How long have you lived here, Sandy?
Oh, about 4 years, ever since Tony and I came to New York. Hey, sit down and make yourself comfortable.
Oh, thank you. Well, you haven't changed.
Well, you have, Sylvia.
Oh, in what way?
Oh, well, unlike most women, you seem to be at peace with yourself.
Well, I'm glad that you said seem to be.
Were you badly hurt?
No, I wasn't. I hurt him. Oh, he's a good doctor. I've known him ever since he was an intern. I was in training then. Bob Hughes is one of the sweetest men I've ever known.
Who?
Dr. Hughes.
That's funny. We have a new neighbor by that name. It's a very attractive girl took the apartment across the hall. Lisa Hughes.
Lisa?
Why, do you know her?
Well, if it's the same girl who used to be married to Dr. Hughes.
No, she's a miss, not a missus. Oh, it is a coincidence. No, there's a very big difference, Sylvia, between being a miss and a missus.
Well, now, wait a minute. When did she move in?
The first week in May.
That's more than just a coincidence, because Lisa Hughes, Mrs. Hughes, could have arrived here at that time.
Sylvia, does she have a nephew named Tom?
Why, no. But she doesn't have a nephew, Tom. She has a son named Tom.
Look, Lisa left me the keys to her apartment. Well, just in case, she was going to go out of town for a few days. You and I are going to do a little identifying.
Oh, I can't identify someone who isn't here, Sandy.
Oh, yes, you can.
Well, that's Tom Hughes. Lisa and Dr. Hughes' son.
Now, shower fresh, odor-free. Till after baby's noontime bottle, maybe. But how about later on when you're getting dinner? Even if you showered with the leading deodorant soap, bacteria grow, perspiration odor grows, and there goes your protection. But now there's a new deodorant soap. Safeguard. Safeguard stays with you long after other deodorant soaps have quit. Because Safeguard, used daily, gets rid of more odor bacteria by helping keep new ones from growing hour after hour. Yet no soap you can buy is milder. Now that you use new Safeguard, you're freer from odor longer. Nice to be near. Confident. Because Safeguard stays with you long after other deodorant soaps have quit. Safeguard, new from Procter & Gamble.
Your father-in-law invited us for cocktails and dinner. Now, that shouldn't create a big problem, Eve.
The Robinsons don't know I'm seeing a doctor. Your wife knows I'm your patient, and so does Brad.
I'll tell you what. Supposing from now on you don't consider yourself my patient, and I don't consider myself your doctor.
Are you suggesting I see someone else?
Well, I think that'd make your husband a whole lot happier than the present arrangement.
I'm sure it would. He told me last night that he didn't believe that we were getting anywhere, and he didn't believe that we ever would with you as my doctor.
He still wants you to see a psychiatrist, huh?
No, he didn't mention a psychiatrist last night.
Have you talked to your mother again?
I'm going out to Lake Forest sometime next week. We're going to have lunch together.
Are you looking forward to it, Eve?
I'm not sure, Tony. I know you think my relationship with her is important.
I think your relationship with people is important.
Well, I told you I don't know many people. I had a lot of acquaintances. I used to. But not a friend, really. Except Brad.
Oh? Brad was a friend?
Yes. I always considered him a friend.
Remember that, Eve.
I don't ever forget it.
Only one real friend. And so you filled your time with, what, acquaintances?
It's about what it amounted to, filling my time. But it's important to fill one's time, you know that. If you don't fill your time doing things, you know just how lonely you are.
Eve, things will never take the place of friends. I'm a friend.
You're more than that. You're more than a doctor.
In what way?
Well, I think need is the word to use to express how I feel about you. I've come to need you.
Received your report on Lisa Hughes. Would like you to check on the... Yes. Oh, yes, ask her to come in. Well, you're the first new client I've had in a long time.
How are you, John?
Never better.
Are you, busy?
Not too busy to see my little sister.
It hasn't changed.
Oh, no. One of these days, Tom and I are going to have an interior decorator in, and we're going to redo the whole place.
Who's the girl?
Oh, there has to be a girl.
Well, I don't think you would have thought about an interior decorator on your own now, would you?
You seem to forget, Eve, that I was married to a very beautiful woman who, from the day we were engaged, was after me to have this place redone.
Really?
I just kept putting it off and putting it off. Well, now tell me, why did you come to see me this afternoon?
Do you think I had to have a reason?
Yes, I do.
Wouldn't the fact that you're my big brother mean that?
Nope.
I spoke to Mother this afternoon. John, do you think that we'll ever be good friends?
Well, I think that she's willing to be. I'm not sure that you're ready.
That's the word.
What do you mean?
Everything I do, I question myself. Am I ready?
Has it always been that way?
You and I don't know each other too well, do we, John?
Not as well as you know your brother Tom, no.
When you got married, you lived in a different world from ours.
Eve, I made one mistake. I should have realized that I had a little sister that needed an older brother.
I don't think she needed you then as much as she needs you now.
You really need me now? You're Mrs. Bradley Robinson.
It's just a name. John, you do know how fond I am of Brad.
Yes, I do. I think that you feel about Brad pretty much the same way you feel about your brother, Tom.
That's right. I never knew that until... Well, I never knew it.
Does Brad know it?
He doesn't. He doesn't. What worries me, and it really does, is Brad is in love with me. Oh, he's carrying on a flirtation with a girl.
Tricia Andrews? It's just a flirtation.
She's not at all like me.
Eve, why don't you come to the point?
I don't think I love Brad.
When did you decide that?
I questioned how I felt about him for some time before we became engaged. Before I made up my mind to propose to him.
You asked him?
Yes. And now I'd like to ask you to tell him that I want our marriage annulled. There is no marriage.
You did say an annulment.
I have no grounds for divorce. Brad has reason for an annulment.
You know that I'd represent you in any legal action. But first, talk it over with Brad.
I don't want to talk it over with Brad.
You have to. It's your problem. It's up to you to take the first step. And in all fairness to your husband, don't put it off any longer.
Hot enough for you? Cool it with
delicious, nasty, icy refreshment instantly.
All tea, iced tea, nasty is born to be iced.
Born to be iced.
Delicious, nasty, instant tea, all tea, iced tea.
Make the best tall tea because it's all tea. Born to be iced. Delicious, nasty, iced tea, all tea, nasty. Born to be iced.
Nestea, made with golden orange pico, specially selected to be brewed with ice. Yet it costs just a penny or so a glass. Want a cool summer? Get instant Nestea from Nestle. Born to be iced. Nestea.
Our Private World has been brought to you by Instant Nestea from Nestle, the tea that was born to be iced. The story of Our Private World will continue on Wednesday at 9:30 and Friday at 9 Eastern Daylight Time. This program was pre-recorded. Be sure to see As the World Turns daily on this CBS station. Did you know that 9 out of 10 forest fires are caused by carelessness, and that one of these causes is kids who play with matches? It's true. Every young boy should know that Smokey Bear's friends don't play with matches. So do Smokey a favor and spread the word, won't you? Like Smokey says, only you can prevent forest